From the Soaking Newsroom, here's your weekly local news recap. I'm Stephen Vierre. If you saw major police activity around Highline Medical Center in Burien Thursday morning, December 1st, here's what we know. Police report that a mentally disturbed male with a knife was on the roof of the hospital, and negotiators were trying to talk him down. Around 20 police and emergency vehicles were on site. While there were reports of heavily armed police officers on the scene, police say that this was not an active shooter incident. Sylvester Road, adjacent to the medical center, was reportedly closed or blocked by police at one point. The hospital reportedly went into lockdown during the incident, while police negotiators talked with the man. Sylvester Middle School, located across the street from the hospital, also went into lockdown for the safety of its students and staff. The man was ultimately apprehended and taken to Harborview Medical Center for a mental evaluation. Photos at btownblog.com. King 5 Television is reporting that a bold thief stole a 90-year-old woman's purse in broad daylight in the parking lot of the Normandy Park Market on Thursday, November 17. The woman was loading her car just after 1 p.m. after doing grocery shopping in the market. Surveillance video shows her unloading her groceries from a grocery cart into the trunk of her car when a man drives up in his SUV, gets out, and says to her, "I'll get that for you." The woman thought that the stranger was going to help her. Instead, he snatched her purse, returned to his SUV, and drove off. If you have any information on this crime, please contact Normandy Park Police. You can view surveillance video of the crime and more at normandyparkblog.com. The SeaTac City Council recently amended the city's local parking tax ordinance. They say it is to ensure that necessary transportation infrastructure projects are adequately funded, this to address potential impacts from current and projected future growth. Among the changes that will take effect March 1st of 2017 will be elimination of the current split-rate tax structure, which charges different rates per transaction for short-term parking of less than 2 hours and long-term customers. It also restores the single rate structure that had been in place prior to 2005 and sets the tax rate at $3 per transaction. The revisions to the rate structure are the first since 2010. The council stated that the split tax rate provides unequal though beneficial treatment to SeaTac airport parking customers, and it has failed to meet revenue projections since 2005. Details at SeaTacBlog.com. Highline Public Schools announced Tuesday, November 29th, that it is one of 2 Washington state school districts awarded $30,000 grants to support increasing graduation rates. One of the grants will launch a new Jobs for Washington's Graduates program at Mount Rainier High School. It will also target students who are not on track to complete high school or successfully transition to a job or obtain further education. The Jobs program already exists at Puget Sound Skills Center. Jobs for Washington's Graduates is a nationwide program that helps students overcome barriers, find a career path, and graduate with a plan to pursue either college or a career after high school. Superintendent Dr. Susan Enfield says, "I am proud that our graduation rate is rising, but we remain committed to achieving our goal of graduating at least 95% of our students. This grant will help ensure that our students graduate with a diploma that is a ticket to the future of their choice." Highline and Federal Way Public Schools will each receive $30,000 to expand their programs. More at btownblog.com. On Tuesday, November 22nd, Port of Seattle commissioners addressed community concerns by revising a safety program that cuts down trees in the SeaTac Airport flight corridor and replaces them with native lower-growing trees and shrubs. Commissioners also created a $1 million fund for the citizens and communities of Burien, Des Moines, and SeaTac to invest in environmental and ecological projects and programs. The port also unanimously passed a resolution revising its flight corridor safety program to reduce the number of trees to be removed and replanted in early 2017. The plan calls for more community engagement before determining the removal and replanting approach for port-owned property near South 200th Street and 10th Avenue South, where most of the overheight conifers are adjacent to residential properties. The modified Phase 1 work will begin in early 2017 by removing approximately 611 trees planted on port property and replanting approximately 1,463 native, lower-growing trees, shrubs, and flowers. In the first half of 2017, the port will engage the public regarding options for the port-owned properties near South 200th Street and 10th Avenue South, also referred to as areas P4 and P5 on port maps. In 2017, the port will conduct environmental review and design for phases 2 and 3, which includes trees on property owned by other public agencies, private businesses, and individuals. Phases 2 and 3 environmental documentation will be available, and a public comment period is expected to begin around the second half of 2017. Details at SeaTacBlog.com. The King County Council announced on Monday, November 14th, that White Center's Steve Cox Memorial Park will be receiving a $3.3 million renovation following its inclusion in King County's 27-2018 biennial budget. Council Chair Joe McDermott says that Steve Cox Park is a wonderful asset to the White Center community. Investing in this much-needed renovation will only increase its use and ensure that the park continues to be a recreation destination for the surrounding community and beyond. While the renovation's final design is still being developed, several possible improvements are under consideration. Those include replacing the natural grass on fields 2 and 3, which are underutilized because of drainage issues, with synthetic turf, as well as lining them for use by multiple sports. Formerly known as White Center Park, this 11.55-acre park was renamed Steve Cox Memorial Park in 2007 in honor of a fallen King County Sheriff's deputy who was also a beloved community leader. More information at whitecenterblog.com. Time now for The Mayne Problem, commentary from senior writer Jack Mayne.
It is time for people to realize that the city of SeaTac can do absolutely nothing about the proposed closure of the Firs Mobile Home Park. Residents and their sympathizers should take their complaints to the state legislators of the 33rd District. One of those representatives, former SeaTac Mayor Mia Gregerson, must realize the facts of the problem. She was a city council member and mayor, so she knows the legal situation the city is in. She has attended most of the SeaTac protests by Firs residents, but has remained mute. We put out a request for her to comment in this editorial, but there was no response. The rapid and uncontrollable increase in the cost of housing has gripped the entire Seattle area. The result is a flood of people moving south to our part of King County, where rents and housing prices are lower, but also quickly rising. One of the results of this is that the very poor are being forced out of the homes they have lived in for many years. The owner of the Firs Mobile Home Park has notified residents they must move in the next year or so. The owner of the Firs is Jong-Soo Park, and he wants to build 2 hotels and an apartment complex on the site. He has offered each of the 72 households $2,000 to help them move, but that amount is hardly enough to pay moving and first-month rental costs, if they can even find an affordable place in this increasingly expensive environment. Mr. Park is absolutely within his rights as a property owner. The property is not zoned for a mobile home park as others in the area are, so there are no zoning protections for Firs residents. It would be economically infeasible for the city to use public taxpayer funds to bail out the mobile home park residents, because then the city would set a precedent for future similar situations. There is a public hearing appealing the adequacy of the Firs closure plan set for January 5th at 6 p.m. in the SeaTac City Council chambers. The city's hearing examiner will determine the adequacy of the owner's plan, which can be appealed to the Superior Court. The city has absolutely no role in such an appeal.
In the final take, I am disappointed by local television news departments. I am disappointed in the way that broadcast news media, and local television news in particular, so often take it upon themselves to interrupt a normally scheduled television program with a breaking news report that often lasts far longer than the limited news content available for the story allows. This forces news anchors and field reporters to regurgitate the same story facts again and again for viewers, while everyone waits for the story to unfold and more facts to become available. Unfortunately, no one usually knows when the next tidbits of relevant information on a breaking news story will appear, so we wait, bored news media and bored viewers alike, while the currently known facts are rehashed for what seems the 40th time. From my perspective, when there is nothing further to report on a breaking news story, end the report and let the viewer return to the normally scheduled program. If more information becomes available, insert it on a text crawl beneath the regular program's image and let it run a couple of times. Then turn off the text crawl if no further information is available. I realize that our local broadcast stations use breaking news reports to promote their expensive news departments, enhance ratings, station prestige, and such. But holding viewers hostage for long periods while the media try to think of something else to add to a breaking story is folly. This approach annoys viewers, and it casts news reporters and their stations in a bad light when they desperately try to hold viewers' attention with nothing really more to say. To our local television stations, I say, break into entertainment programming if you must, but only when the story content is sufficiently important to warrant an interruption. Concisely report the facts of the story once, or twice if you have to, then go away and let the regular program resume. And please, keep it short. And please, keep it professional. Stephen Vierre, SoKing Internet and Radio News.
SoKing News was created based on a generous grant from JLab's Encore Media Entrepreneurs Program, supported with funding from the Ethics and Excellence in Journalism Foundation and the Nicholas B. Ottaway Foundation.